spoilers suck. Hey guys, what's up? It's Trina and today is a Segue Magic Saturday video. I know I've been absent from Segue Magic for the past several weeks, so I apologize for that. And this week's topic is a great one. It is things that you've been spoiled for before. So we're talking about spoilers. The 5 fandoms that I will be mentioning in this video are Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and the Mortal Instruments. So pretty popular things. But if you're not familiar with those, I don't know, you may want to skip some parts of this video. But let's get into it. I want to rant about the things I've been spoiled for. One of the first spoilers I can remember was actually for a character death in The Lord of the Rings, which happens at the beginning of The Two Towers. But in the movies, they put it in the very end of the Fellowship of the Ring movie. I've mentioned my long-standing love of The Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth a few times before, especially in Segue Magic videos, because it just always brings it out on me. So you can check out my first fandoms video if you want to know more about what I'm talking about. But when I was 15, I started reading The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. When I found out that movies were being made, when I first saw that teaser trailer for Fellowship of the Ring, I had actually only read Fellowship of the Ring. I hadn't continued into the series yet, so I quit reading the books. I wanted to read the book, then watch the movie, then read the next book and watch the next movie so that it would still be fresh on my mind. So I had only read book 1 when I went to go see movie 1. So when they add things in to a movie that are from subsequent books, how are you supposed to avoid that? So I was totally spoiled for a character death. I just sat there in the theater like, what? That doesn't happen! And then I went home and immediately picked up The Two Towers. It totally did happen, and I was spoiled for it. The second thing I can ever remember being spoiled for big time was a character death from Harry Potter. Talking about the character that dies in book 6. I hadn't read book 5 yet, and I found a blog somewhere talking about this character's death, and I was expecting it to happen in book 5. So in book 5, I'm reading this book on the edge of my seat, thinking every little thing when the character was off screen that they had died. I was just like a mess through that entire book, and then it didn't happen, and I was like, what is the internet talking about? And then I read book 6, and it was real, and it got me. Another thing I was spoiled for was in the Mortal Instruments, the plot twist to the plot twist. I was doing that thing again where I didn't want to get too far ahead in the book series. I wanted to watch the movie first. So I had read books 1 and 2 in the Mortal Instruments series at the time that I went to see the movie. The movie decided that they were going to put in spoilers for something that happens in book 2 and something that happens in book 3. Why? Why? And the same thing was happening with my friend that I went to see the movie with. She had only read book 1 and we were both just looking at each other like, is that a spoiler? Did that really happen? I hated that I found something out through a poorly done movie and they didn't even do it in the way that I was just questioning myself throughout this entire series and questioning what was real and not real, and that is probably why I have such a problem with a lot of stuff happening in the Mortal Instruments series. The next thing that I've been spoiled for was a plot point in The Walking Dead, and this is a plot point dealing with the town of Terminus. That season was building up all the way to Terminus, and then it cut off and we didn't actually find out what was going on at Terminus until the next season. I do read The Walking Dead comic books, and Terminus was not really a thing in the comics. Like, the characters and some of the stuff that was happening were based on things that did happen in the comics, but the show explored it way more. The big reveal was a thing that I had already put together. I'm sure a lot of people had put it together, but I didn't want to know that it was the same in the comics because I had not gotten to that point yet. And I was talking about the show with a friend that has read the comics, all of them, and watched the show, and she kind of revealed something that I didn't quite know yet. Even though I had my theory and it was pretty obvious where the show was going with that, I didn't know that that was the same thing that would be happening in the comics. So once I read the comics and once the new season came back on, I already knew what was happening. And the last thing that I've been spoiled for is the most recent season of Game of Thrones. I decided that I was not going to watch the current season, season 5, until I had caught up with the books, which is probably not a smart move because I'm kicking myself, and now I know the thing that happened. People tweet about spoilers on that show all the time. Everything is trending, and then there's all these different interviews that pop up everywhere. Everything you look at somebody is mentioning something that happened on Game of Thrones and I'm not there yet, I'm not there in the books or in the show, I am trying to trick myself about this one and tell myself that, you know, the show deviated from the books, so maybe that's not really what's gonna happen in the books when I get to that point. I don't know. I don't want to know anything else about it. When I do see a spoiler for something that I am reading or watching, I try to kind of talk myself out of it and try to see like 50 different ways that I can interpret what I've seen, and I try to trick myself into thinking, well, they could have meant this or they could have meant that. Let me know down in the comments what you've been spoiled for and how you deal with spoilers when you do see them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!